Kristen Ritter, and for my final speech, I would like to persuade you guys about the importance of being cautious when purchasing air purifiers. People buy air purifiers every day to improve the indoor air quality of their home or their office by cleaning out pollutants such as dust, smoke, and pollen. While this is all good and most air purifiers generally work, if you're not careful, some could potentially cause even more harmful side effects, and they can aggravate your allergies and asthma even more. There are 5 main types of air purifiers. The first being air filters, which use a paper fiber or mesh filter to capture dust particles or pet dander. Secondly, there's electrostatic air cleaners, which use an electrically charged panel or screen to capture particulates. These are things such as ionizers or ion-generating air cleaners. These attach electrically charged ion particles to dust or pollen or any other pollutant, which causes these to get heavy and to drop from the air. While this is good and they are proven to be effective, they usually land on your carpet or your furniture, walls, or anything, and it's usually a mess for you to have to clean up later. Thirdly, there is gas phase air filters, which remove gases and odors with a product like activated carbon. These aren't typically used in homes, and they may not remove many gases such as carbon monoxide, which is really the most important to get rid of. These usually have short, effective lifespans. There are also UV filters, and they remove and destroy biological impurities like mold or bacteria with an ultraviolet light. These may or may not work. They're not necessarily proven, but people still use them and people still test them out. These should be used with the filter type device to remove any particulates as well as any biological pollutants. There are also ozone generators, which use either UV light or an electrical discharge to create an ozone, a gas which is pretty much something that causes serious health problems and permanent lung damage. These are not necessarily recommended by the EPA because these could cause potentially even more harmful side effects. Before buying your air purifier, you should always take into consideration what would fit you and your family best. The effectiveness of certain air purifiers may only be reflected at its highest level, which would also be its highest level for your electricity. This could cause you to spend even more money than expected. You should also make sure that you look out for air purifier that has some sort of air cleaning delivery rate, or a CADR, of at least 300, because anything less than 100 is pretty much an overpriced fan and it serves no purpose. It's also important to look for the Energy Star certified sticker that lets you know you're going to conserve some energy, because these are ran a lot and you use a lot of electricity because you run them in hours at a time. Product testing groups that publish certain consumer reports found that 5 of the best-selling models tested for air purifiers emitted really high levels of ozone, and this is where the problem comes in. Ozone exposure can aggravate your allergies and decrease lung function. As I said before. An October 2003 report showed that researchers concluded that ionizing purifiers do a much poorer job of cleaning the air of dust and smoke than advertisers really suggest. Also, Consumer Union Vice President Jeff Asher says that air purifiers did suggest a potential risk. None of the ionizing purifiers that have been tested, all of the ionizing air purifiers that have been tested exceeded a generally high level of ozone, which is not generally accepted for safety measures at air levels measured up to 3 feet away. Air purifiers that use ozone technology may further aggravate your asthma and allergies without a hidden cost. Ozone air purifiers should not be sold for residential use. Exposure to ozone can bring asthma symptoms to an all-time high, which I've seen with my smaller brother. Levels of ozone increase the risk of lung scarring, which is something that's really serious and something that you can't really fix. The EPA includes the negative health effects that ozone generators have on people, because ozone is proven by the EPA's research to be a toxic gas that has the properties that are vastly different than oxygen, which I would assume is a lot as harmful as carbon monoxide. It may not kill you right away, but it can cause other problems that can slowly kill you, which is even worse. While ozone is needed in the atmosphere, it is dangerous in your home. Small amounts of inhaled ozone can cause coughs, sobs, chest pains, and irritation through the throat. The longer and stronger to the exposure to the ozone, the more likely the irreparable damage to your respiratory system will be. So it's very important to know what you have in your house and what's coming out of these machines. Like I said, while some people really believe that air purifiers help and purify the air, which they do, if you have one that emits ozone, it is very important for you to check, all of the necessary, go through all the necessary channels, read up on it, do all the necessary research, and know what exactly you're getting yourself into, because these machines aren't necessarily cheap. They're rather expensive. They cause you to use a lot of electricity. It's going to run up your power bill. So while you're trying to, or you're thinking you're purifying your air, you could be causing worse damage than what's really already there. Like I said, my mom we've gone through several different air purifiers. We've had an Ionic Pro. We've had several different things. The Ionic Pro being the one that's probably the best we've ever had. But if you have a machine that emits high levels of ozone, it's really unhealthy to you, and it could cause much more problems than what you may be feeling with just the simple little dust particles and dust bunnies floating around your house. So it's really best to do your research on air purifiers, because they, like I said, they're serious. They're a machine. Nothing's perfect. It's man-made. But if you pick out the right one, they will really be helpful. They could be very helpful to your health. But as I said, if you're careless and if you don't necessarily know what you're getting yourself into, you could buy something and waste a lot of money on something that could just further aggravate and worsen the current problems that you already have. I hope that this speech has been a little bit persuasive and informative to let everybody know that it's important to take a look at what you're purchasing before you buy it. Everyone's different. All products have fine print, just like all coupons and everything else. Everything has a fine print. Too much ozone could be very harmful to your health, whereas it's something that we live with every day in your home, contained in a small enclosure, could be very harmful to your health. So I just like to thank you guys for listening, and I hope next time, or whenever you go out to purchase or think about purchasing an air purifier, you'll make sure you take the proper precautions and do the proper research to make sure that you're getting the best thing that is going to be most beneficial to you and your family. Thank you for listening, and I hope I persuaded you.